Okay. Bye, Captain.
And now that was a little bit crazy.
Do you have any other dolls? Okay. That he might say yes. I'm kind of scared. Okay. The wrestling. Now, the world of wrestling, I've only recently got into, and I didn't know that that it was so popular at one time. I think I just missed it by a generation of.
It's still incredibly popular now. In fact, you do a comedy wrestling podcast. Oh my God, so many kids, and now they're like in their 20s, like 30s and 40s now, but who grew up on The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's a huge fan base, and we all know it's theater. But it's huge. But as a kid, I grew up. I was born in 1994. But the
wait a minute, John.
I don't count those years. I was in the WNBA.
Okay.
But makes no sense. But as a kid, I grew up in this. Watching. There used to be a manager named Classie Freddie Blassie. He was a wrestler in the 50s and 60s and 70s. He probably made this something. But he looked like a. I think he looked like a thick, gray-haired Polish guy. That's what he looks like. He's looks like a European immigrant. But he was a hilarious wrestler, and then he became a manager as he got older. But he's famous for Andy Kaufman made a short film called My Breakfast with Blassie.
Oh, is that who it is?
Yeah,
because I've never understood that.
Because Andy Kaufman loved wrestling, and Freddie Blassie was They used to be called the Hollywood fashion plate. And he'd wear like satin jackets like this, but he used to have a cane in his hand. And he would come out, and he's like, I'm Freddie Blassie. And there's I don't know, this is maybe inside. There's a performer named Weird Al Yankovic.
Okay, I opened for him a couple times.
He had a song by Freddie Blassie played on his radio show called Pencil Neck Geek. And you hear Freddie Blassie sing the song, Pencil Neck Geek, Grit Eating Freak.
Was he the man who brought Pencil Neck Geek into the lexicon of wrestling? It wasn't the Hulk?
No, but he was Hulk Hogan's one of his first managers. Okay. Right? And it was so funny. He would yell at the audience, now listen here, you Pencil Neck Geeks. My guy's going to win. All right? And but it was very funny. It was hilarious. And out there, people, if you get a chance, if you can find his autobiography, that's very prominent. It's hilarious and will make a great, great movie. Well, I accidentally went to a flea market. There was a guy selling this. It was like $5, right?
Okay.
The next week, I accidentally went to a toy convention, and they were selling the exact same thing for $85. And
that doll for $85?
Right? And this is when they first came out with the wrestling dolls, and it was him. But it was so freaking funny. And the song parody he did called Pencil Neck Geek is available on YouTube. He sings a song, and it sounds like Big Bad John.
Big Bad John.
He goes, so I'm walking down the street one day, and I stop in this restaurant. And I see this guy behind the counter with a turtleneck sweater on, and he was cooking food. He kept screwing my order up. So I went back in the kitchen, and I pulled his turtleneck sweater down, just as I thought. Pencil Neck Geek. And he starts singing the song. A chorus comes in. Pencil Neck Geek, Grit Eating Freak, Scum Sucking Pinhead with the lousy physique. He's a one-man losing streak. Pencil Neck Geek. And you're, ooh.
John knows all the words to Pencil Neck Geek. Well, I think that's impressive.
Well, then he goes. It's a three-chorus song, three-story song. They go, so that there's the dog. So you hear the recording of the song. At the end of the song, you hear the engineer in the recording studio go, Mr. Blassie, that was okay, but can we do another take? And he goes, no, we can't do another take. He goes, wait a minute. Why are you wearing a turtleneck sweater in that sound booth? Hold on a second. And
he breaks the fourth wall.
And he goes, take that, you pencil neck geek. And no, here's like, it sounds electrocution.
It's great when, celebrities of anything, they sort of make a song or out of their catchphrase.
Oh, my God.
Rappin' Rodney, okay.
We mentioned him earlier. Frank Gorshin had a song like "Do the Joker" or "Do the Riddler," right?
Okay.
And it's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. There's a video of him wearing the question mark green screen thing, right? And he has all girls dancing behind him, going like, "Do the Riddler," and the whole song he's going, "Riddle me this," right? What lays eggs? It's just
he had a good voice, Frank Gorshin. He could actually sing besides being a impersonator.
Yes,
and that's what he was. And I worked with somebody who worked at the Playboy clubs. Okay. Back in the day, and he wasn't a comedian. This guy that I knew, he was sort of a techie guy. He ran lights and all this stuff. He said, out of all the performers, who got the biggest reaction? Frank Gorshin, because he would come up there and he would sing songs, he would do impressions, he would tell jokes. He was, he was sort of your triple threat of performers at that. And let's face it, riddle me this at the Playboy Club. Woo.
Well, you look still walking.
Yeah.
One time I opened for Frank Gorshin in Philadelphia.
I remember that time, John. Right. You opened up in Chinatown someplace.
Yeah. He was in Philadelphia filming the movie 12 Monkeys with Brad Pitt.
12 Monkeys, yes, where he...
a movie I really came to like over the years. When I first saw it, you wanted to see Bruce Willis in like a diehard time travel movie. This movie's not that. It's very sci-fi. But he's the doctor in the movie. Well, he got booked to open at a comedy cabaret in Center City at 10th and Arch in the middle of Chinatown, right? And it was me hosting a woman that I heard he was seeing on the side, possibly, maybe. I can't, right?
Oh, Holly Ferris.
Yes, right. She did Cher and Joan Rivers.
She was also an impersonator, but she
impersonated female impersonator like Cher. Sometimes she would do the opposite sex. She would impersonate Joy Behar, and but I had to open for him, right, Frank Gorshin, right? And it sucked in that I loved it. Like here I am touching old Hollywood, like old 60s.
Oh yeah,
here I am. I'm talking to the guy. I'm seeing him. It's like meeting somebody from a 60s TV series, right? Well, the majority of his audience they don't go out anymore, right? I'm a young guy. I'm obsessed with all media. His audience, people who grew up on Batman. Well, they're probably in their 60s and 70s now. I was in the 60s. They're all old. They wouldn't. Anyway, so I'm at the nightclub with him. He comes out. And he does the best impressions, like dead on. Like he's the one who came up with James Cagney, but he didn't do a character of James Cagney. Like he did just like him. He did Burt Lancaster.
He was the greatest Burt Lancaster in the business.
Well, the young people in the audience didn't know who he was. They might remember him as the Riddler. Well, in the middle of his act,
nobody remembers poor Burt.
No.
I mean,
and in the middle of his act, he does an impersonation of the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde from like 1942 with Frederick March, which nobody knows anyway today. You might say Freddie March. Somebody's what I'm talking about. You mean the guy who invented the month? But he.
I'm sorry for snorting.
Well, in his act, Frank Gorshin pretends he drinks the Dr. Jekyll potion to turn to Mr. Hyde, and he demanded a green spotlight on his face to indicate he's turned into the evil Mr. Hyde. Well, he didn't get it because the ceiling's like 40 feet high, and they don't have a light up there, right?
That's John Barrymore played that too,
right.
and he used the it was Frederick March too.
And there was nothing about Freddie March. I think when he did it, he did not use
makeup. He just manipulated his face.
So Frank Gorshin, in the middle of a set, does this for an audience of people just staring at him who didn't know who he was, right? And he said, "F this," and dropped the microphone and walked off. I can't deal with this unprofessionalism, and he stormed out of the place. But you know how Frank Gorshin wound up his career? What he wound up doing?
I was down in Florida and met him in Fort Lauderdale at a all-night diner, and he was sitting there because he was premiering his tribute, his one-man show to George Burns.
Yep, and he toured the nation doing it at old age homes, and he was actually really good at it.